we may be headed into the lunch hour, but we are skipping lunch today and headed straight for dessert. Sarah Dapcevich is from Little Crumb Seattle, and she's here with some tips about taking cake and frosting to the next level, which I'm here for. And she already said one very important thing to me off camera. She said, you shouldn't have to sacrifice deliciousness for pretty.
That's true.
So we're excited because these cakes are beautiful and I'm sure they're going to be delicious. So how do we get started?
So the first thing I do when I've baked my cake and I'm ready to frost is I will flip these over.
Okay, flip this over. Okay.
And you'll see that one side is uneven, and it's very important when you're making a cake if you want symmetry, and you also don't want things to sort of slide.
You don't want off-kilter cakes.
Which I've had when I first started because I wanted rustic, but if you go rustic and you don't have even layers, you're still going to struggle with having them stay in place.
So you literally cut the top off this cake?
So you do, and I'll show you. You just kind of take it and you put your hand on top.
Okay.
And you just go straight across.
All right.
And you want to take off just enough to kind of get that clean.
Do you get to eat that part, or do you save it?
So cake scraps are in high demand.
Oh, are they? Okay, I will try to cut mine now.
And then once you've cut it, we can kind of get down on the level of the cake and make sure that it is even.
I don't know if I'm even any.
That's okay.
And you need to obviously make sure the cake is cool before you start hacking in, right?
Yes, that is actually an important question. When you're making a cake, it's very important to give it time to cool, because if you don't, the frosting will melt. And the other thing about frosting melting is that your cake will be unstable from that as well.
Okay.
I oftentimes will put my cake, you can get down.
I don't think wait, hold on, I think I did pretty good. I think you're going to be proud of me.
Yeah, I love it. It looks good to me.
Okay.
And then, you know, the crumbs are always a delight. So
that didn't make it in my mouth.
That's funny.
Right.
I oftentimes will even freeze layers before I frost them, because it's actually easier to frost when they're frozen. And that is a cake, that's a baker's secret.
That's a baker's secret.
I
like it.
Yeah.
Okay, what is next? What do we do next?
All right, the next thing that we're going to do is, I'll show you how I make buttercream.
Okay.
We'll kind of just, the recipe that I normally use is for a cake this size, which is a very large cake. It's a 3-layer 9-inch.
So you do how many sticks of butter is that?
This is 5 sticks of butter.
5 sticks of butter, okay.
And so when you put the butter in, I'm going to take this out for a second so I can.
Here, I'll hold it.
Thank you. And then I can just kind of, I'm going to just
do it.
Them in there.
Get it in there.
Just go there. All right. So the butter goes in, and then what you do is
room temperature butter, right?
Room temperature is very important for all your ingredients when you're making frosting and cake, because otherwise the ingredients have a harder time incorporating with one another. And
buttercream's pretty easy, right? It's just butter and powdered sugar and maybe sometimes a little bit of water if you want to.
So yes, so vanilla also, and I usually add a pinch of salt because I use unsalted butter, and I like just that little bit of that touch of salt is nice.
I love it.
And then the other thing is, I usually cream the butter before I
cream before you add the sugar.
Because otherwise it doesn't really have anything to land on. So I'm going to just give it like a little whir. Probably won't do the whole thing, because if I were actually making the buttercream, I would cream the butter for about 5 minutes. I really take the time to get it to the point where it goes from yellow to kind of pale, almost white. And once you've done that, and I mean, I would have to put it on quite a high speed to get it to really do what it's supposed to do. But once you've kind of gotten to that place, I like to add the vanilla first.
Okay.
The vanilla is, if you want, you can do that.
Sure.
I prefer, and I'll show you, Madagascar bourbon vanilla, because
that smells amazing.
Using the right vanilla is everything in baking a cake and having it taste the way that it should.
And is this salt?
That is, and I really like that salt. It's a kosher salt, and it's less salty, so you have less chance of overdoing it.
That's smart.
I just add like a little dash of salt. You can just pinch
just
it.
a little dash.
You can kind of, it's personal preference. And then I would mix that, and after that,
then you have this beautiful buttercream, which may I taste it?
Yes, please do.
All right, I'm just since I didn't get my cake in my mouth, I'm going to make sure I get this now.
There you go. Yeah. And I use American buttercream, which is controversial amongst pastry chefs because Swiss So there's Swiss buttercream, and then there's American buttercream, and then there are other buttercreams as well, but like Italian. But the Swiss is really popular.
Okay.
And I like the American because it tastes like a nostalgic taste. It reminds me of my childhood,
yes.
right? And that's, I feel like a lot of people, they'll say to me, I really like that you don't use the Swiss meringue buttercream, which is called SMBC, and it's very popular amongst bakers.
Oh.
But I like this one because I love that it's
we only have about a minute left,
okay.
so we need to get going.
Let's do it.
But, okay, so what do we do here? We put
So you
this
would just
here?
put it on top, and then what you do is you'd create, like, you want enough frosting in the middle that you think about what do you like in the middle of your layer? How much frosting?
Yeah.
So I kind of do it from that perspective because you want it to have a little bit of, that differentiation from the cake.
Yeah.
And once you've done that, you would add your other layer, which I already leveled those ones.
Okay.
And then
So you want to make sure that that your frosting level is even, though,
yeah,
right?
you would use your offset spatula for that reason because you have more control over.
I'm not doing a good job.
That's okay. And I'll get the other layer for you. So I'll just show you. You put this on top.
Okay.
And then you would add your next. Do you want to add one or do you want to
No,
just
I want
watch?
you to do it, and I'm going to try
So-
the cake with the buttercream.
And I have an example of a finished one.
Okay.
So this is kind of what you do. And then you go down the sides, and your offset spatula allows you to have control as you go over the sides. And you basically you can start with
The
more.
offset spatula is this kind right here, right?
It has that little edge.
That little
that
edge.
allows you to work around the edges of the cake. So normally I would use this to decorate my cakes. This
you
is
can
what
move it around.
professional bakers use so that they have ease when they're moving, because otherwise you're twisting.
You're twisting. So
And
get one of these.
Those are
Sarah,
great.
I
yes.
wish we had more time. We have so much more to discuss, but
no
I have
problem.
to just
Yes.
say this is so delicious.
Thank you.
Everything is here. I can't wait to try this. I'm going to have to do it off camera, though, but I will do it anyway. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you for spending time with us today. You can check our website for more of our content. You can always send us an email and share your thoughts, but most importantly, get out there and enjoy your new day. We'll see you next time.